Welcome, everybody. We're ready to go here for a nice day of some Counter-Strike here in South America, and this is ESL Challenger League. Of course, it's got myself, Paladin, and myself, Laz, here to bring you through two games, which is going to be two best of ones, and we got ourselves a pretty interesting matchup here, Paladin, so I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to be here on the mainstream today. We get to watch the new look red Canids. What's not to love, right? I mean, we're getting towards the tail end of South America's regular season. Playoffs are on the horizon, so we want to start to get to know who those playoff teams are going to be, where those seedings rely on, and let's actually take a look at the groups so we can kind of figure that out alongside you guys. But basically, at this point, Fluxo feels like by and large the top of the table. They've completed majority of their games, but there's still some placements to be decided elsewhere. Where Red Canids right now they're placed at sixth. They could have an opportunity to climb up a couple of places today if they were to 2-0 Corinthians. And for the Corinthians, you can see they're dead last right now. They have an opportunity to potentially not only avoid relegate or not avoid the drop down to open and confirm a spot at relegation. So there's a lot on the line for both of these two teams, and actually has quite a bit of determining factor to the future of both of their seasons moving forward.
Yeah, no, it's such a good point, right? Because I mean, we talk a lot about these scores. We talk a lot about like, who's kind of sitting on the top of the throne right now for South America. But again, there seems to be a little bit of wiggle room in some degree with some of these teams. But obviously, we have, Fluxo, they're kind of sitting themselves really well here on the top. But it's an interesting thing to see with like even a team like Red Canids because they've had some roster shuffles. They've had themselves a little bit of differences as well. But let's go a little bit deeper about the schedule because we kind of want to talk a little about the matchup. We talk a little bit about what we're doing here today. And like we said, it is going to be two separate games. So it's two best of ones. And that's where you were kind of going to and alluding to is that this can make a pretty big difference for a team like Corinthians.
Yeah, and I mean, it's great that they were able to get here. They got here through winning open, and that takes a little bit of skill in and of itself to be here at this point. But at the end of the day, you really want to find a way to stay within these ECL seasons again and again, so that you can not only gain experience as a roster, but have a chance to potentially play in these playoff environments, play deeper, and get more match experience. But we will get into the veto just straight away while we continue to hype up this narrative between Red Canids and Corinthians. Of course, we will go to Nuke, and I believe this feels a little bit more Corinthians leaning. It could be Red Canids leaning as well, because I feel as though Red Canids right now can go to majority of the maps in the veto right now, and they wouldn't be very disappointed. And it seems to be the case for right now. Nuke seems to be a pretty home territory for them.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of the thing that made me a little bit interested about, for Corinthians is that, I mean, when we talk about, maps like Nuke, I mean, they don't have a ton of officials on it, but their score lines have actually been pretty decent. I mean, they've had a couple losses that were 13-11s, but again, close games where anything can really happen. When you kind of flip things over and you talk about, for Red Canids, I mean, them sitting themselves in a pretty good position here with officials, sitting themselves with plenty of matches in the victory. But that kind of goes into the next point. So let's talk a little bit about these rosters because we're going to bring this up here for you, just kind of show you who's playing for who. We still have kind of wondering a little bit for Corinthians if this is going to be the solidified roster, because what you were also talking about is, yeah, look, they've been kind of juggling things. They've been trying different things as well. But I think the obvious thing, and let's just go right to it, Paladin, because, we got to get the elephant out of the room. There's a new player that's joined the Red Canids, and it's a decently known name here.
Decently known name is definitely an understatement. Of course, it's coldzera replacing Destiny, and it's a very exciting prospect to have such a legend on this kind of a roster. Where you look at how they've kind of built this roster over the last period of maybe a year or so, they have built this brick by brick, nabbing key targets from some of the best lineups within South America. I mean, you look at 9Z, they had their issues with Davideus. Red Canids snatches them up. Pain have their issues with Hardzao after they lose Skulls and Zevi, and Red Canids snap them up there as well. And next to notice that Nithon was already in their books, and so were Venom Zera, and these two have been providing a significant firepower to them for a considerable amount of time. And then finally you slot in coldzera, you add in a little bit more calling prowess, and of course you add in that experience of a major winner to the roster, and you have theoretically a recipe for a very dominant roster within South America, which is so exciting, right? But of course, it's all in theory right now, and that's the biggest thing. To me, it's still a proving for them to actually figure out what's going to work for them in the long run.
Yeah, so let's go a little bit about this. Like, I'll ask you the obvious question. I feel like I know the answer, but I mean, we'll talk about predictions here, right? I mean, we talked about the matchup. We talked a lot about the veto. Let's hear it. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, at Red Canids is quite obviously the going to be the prediction this time around.
Yeah.
Even though they have like growing pains of figuring out how to play as a roster, I think the core's cohesion as a whole just understands how to play together pretty well. They are further along other IGL changes within South America. When I look at like teams like Fluxo, where they're still really trying to figure out how to play around art, I don't think Coldzera is having the same sort of issue. There's some role swaps for sure, but I feel as though this team has been adapting to the changes a little bit faster compared to the other changes within South America. So I think they'll still be able to handle business today against the Corinthians.
I think so too. And I mean, when we kind of talk about even like, just the obvious numbers here of like, world rankings, I mean, this is a pretty significant difference where, Corinthians are sitting at like a 153 and, in terms of Red Canids, they're sitting at 53 in the world, right? I mean, this is kind of a big adjustment. And we're talking about now they even have more firepower. They have that extra experience of somebody like Coldzera joining the reins here. This is a really exciting bit of a prospect team because now it's about how well can they mesh everybody together. And like you talked a lot about is the fact that you have like, you got Hardzao, you got Nithon, like Davideus. These guys definitely can pop off, and these guys bring a lot here to the tank. So I'm really excited to see what they can do. And I mean, Coldzera's only been on the team for, I think, give or take, like just less than 20 days. But again, the guy's experienced. The guy can do a lot of things. And I think all these Brazilians know how to play with each other to a pretty much an extent here, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I'm sure they have very high expectations for themselves, considering the names on this lineup's books. But I mean, you look at the player to watch; it has to be Coldzera. And I do think that he's also still trying to figure out his role on this team as an in-game leader and whether or not he wants to set himself up for success. Because I was seeing that he was putting himself in favorable mid lurks on a map like Anubis, where he would be playing on that T side just very methodically and playing for the clutch. But most recently, legitimately, just a couple days ago, we are also seeing him play on the B bomb side as an anchor. So even then, we don't necessarily know what Coldzera we're going to get in terms of the roles. But so far, regardless of the role changes, he has been producing some incredible numbers to debut on this roster. That no matter where he's playing, what he's doing, he will have impact at this level. The question is, what can he eclipse that and show that same level against the top level opposition in South America? Is the real question for me.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is too, like, I mean, the overall stats, I think for a team like Corinthians is like, I mean, everybody's a bit close together. Like a lot of the players are like sitting at that point, like 9.8, kind of like a 1.8 or 1.08, sorry, things like that. Whereas I think when you kind of switch things over, I mean, you're talking everybody essentially from Red Candidates is a substantial number over that, overall rating, like a 1.17, a 1.28. Like it's just, that's where we talked about the monstrosity of this team and how scary they can be, because on paper they look really good, but now we have to see how well they can actually do against a team like this. And you kind of talked about this really briefly, is the fact that Corinthians are kind of in a position where if they could split this, that'd be awesome, right? If they can find one of the wins here in the best of ones, probably best case scenario, just given the state of what Red Canids are in right now. But at the same time, Red Canids are in a position where I think the expectation is you need to be winning these and you need to be getting yourself higher in that ranking quickly based on what we know and based on the roster we have here today.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at the rest of their schedule. It's a pretty tough one. I'll be completely honest with you, because they've got Corinthians, and then they still have to play Bestia, 9Z, Sharks. I mean, these are exceptional teams, the cream of the crop within South America right now. So you want to get every single best of one nabbed into your favor as soon as possible before the season is over. And you know, there could be a real world where they drop down to like ninth or 10th and have to play through the lower bracket of the playoffs, which would be an absolute disaster of a scenario for this kind of a roster. So this is also still very important for the Red Canids to take care of business and put away Corinthians. So on either end, I think there is a considerable amount of pressure in the grand scope of how this season is going to look for both of these teams.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the other thing, just because I think it does kind of bring a little bit into this, is the fact that you know, Red Canids are sending themselves in a position where they really have had a lot more wins in their category. Whereas on the other side for Corinthians, you were talking about this is the fact that, again, like they've had about a 4 or 5 loss streak in a row. So this is kind of one of those things where as a team, you have to get over a big hurdle, right? I mean, that is not an easy thing to do. And these games have been pretty much domination. Like they've lost 13 twos, 13 threes. I think the closest one I saw before was like a 13-8. So it's like these guys can't even get double digit rounds right now. And they're about to play one of the best teams or arguably one of the best rosters so far in this league. So, I mean, that's where we were kind of saying they need to come in guns blazing, but at the same time, can they meet an expectation of even splitting 1-1?
Yeah, I mean, there are high expectations, but we're still trying to get everybody on the server as of right now. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, it's Corinthians Red Canids on Nuke. Don't go anywhere.
All right. Well, we did promise a bit of a short break, but we are just waiting for the pause to come through. But at least we're here in time and everything's ready to go almost. But Paladin, how you feeling? We had a little bit of a short break, and any change of thoughts? Anything you're expecting maybe here with the pistol? I mean, the one thing I will say is there's a million dualies, so something's cooking.
Yeah, 3 pairs of dual Brettas is certainly unorthodox. You don't see that every day. But I think, I mean, look, I've watched Red Canids on this map against lesser opposition absolutely manhandle on Nuke. And I think the main issue that I've seen with lower tiered Brazilian teams is, as a defense, can you hold outside? Can you find a way to command respect of what Red Canids is throwing at you? And if they can't rise to that occasion, these T's are going to run rampant across this map. So out the gates, of course, this pistol round, we'll get to see what their game plan is. But what I'm most curious about moving forward is how are they going to handle some of these players outside that can do some significant damage.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious a little bit about too. Like, I think for Corinthians, like this is their CT side where I mean, I think their T side definitely has a bit of a higher rating overall, but I think this is going to be a good moment just to see in terms of defense how well they can go against that opposition. Because, like you said, Red Canids are in a great spot here to see how well they can bring this function in. And T side always takes quite a bit of teamwork here, but doesn't matter. We're going to get things underway. Smoke coming in front of Mini, so now it looks like a little bit of outside control being obtained here from Red Canids, but Cuts now trying to see what he can spot. Waiting things out. A couple more nades. And actually, a player's already snuck his way into the smoke. Cuts might not be able to expect this, but it's just going to be USPs. They're just taking over the kill feed. And all of a sudden, Hardzao, he's got a hard task. And it's going to be a quick pistol round indeed.
Yeah, they just want to try and wrap into Mini quickly, into their own smoke, actually. But Cuts does a great job of playing around that smoke and then realizing that the main hit's coming inner. And then he pushes that mini smoke, fights in ahead, and as you could see, Red Canids were not aware of that sort of a crossfire. The top hut player does his job, as those dual Brettas are so well known for. And they get that all necessary pistol round to start forcing a little bit of respect on these Red Canids players. Chunky couple of nades to really soften up these Glocks, but of course, this isn't really the round that we can truly hype up. It's really a farming simulator for the Corinthians.
Yeah, I think it's more about like them just staying alive, not losing these weapons, and just how well they can just kind of, like you said, stat pad a little bit, get some extra coins flying, and that MP9 is definitely going to make a huge difference right now. But okay, yeah, it's looking like a bit of a massacre. These players not long for this world, and it's a nice easy cleanup. Actually, everybody does stay alive. Desh does get down to 4 HP, but again, not a ton of investment coming in from Red Canids. Now this is where we're going to see it. This is where we can talk a little bit about that hype. And I would be curious to see if they want to go back for outside and go for that control. Because in my opinion, if they can get outside control, I mean, they've already put themselves in a great position in terms of map control.
Yeah, for sure. I have just realized now that this Corinthians roster cannot have any of the changes that they're currently going through because of the roster lock situation. So they are playing with an older roster that disbanded in April. So Leo Monster, I believe Desh as well, shouldn't actually be on this team's book. So they're trying to make do with this kind of a hodgepodge team. And they're trying to repel away the Red Canids on J-Hall. But unfortunately for them, they have missed their shots and have to give away a lot of map control here to the Red Canids. They have pretty much full lower control at this point. It's only ABR down here.
Yeah, this is really good because now, even with the MP9 swinging, I mean, they need to be able to find something, but ABR just can't get it done. Red Canids now have been able to take over control. This is where I was kind of talking about getting some real estate. This is a huge effect. Now even Cuts get spotted. Oh, this is looking worse for wear right now. Still the 4-4, though. Avadea is still plenty. Yeah, they might have to, right? I was just going to say, like, I think this is the moment where they're like, look, like, we don't got a lot to work with. We got to just keep these guns. We got a lot of armor. Yeah, they're just losing players. They're still kind of entertaining something, but it's got to be it, right? This is over.
Hardzao doesn't want to let him get away, and Leo Monster will go down. Cuts trying to recover that rifle on the way out, but it should be all good for Desh to save at the very least. I don't know if Hardzao will live. Let's see. 3 men kept alive, and Cuts actually does go down. There will only be that singular AWP saved over by Death, and Red Canids have that buy going swimmingly for them in round number 3. And I mean, it was really awesome just contact that ramp. There wasn't really anything too complex there.
Yeah, it was kind of a simple strat, right? I mean, they really didn't put like too much of like complexity into it. Like it was just like, all right, let's just do the old simple. Let's get some ramp control, and it actually worked out very, very well. So now, still with the op going to be into play here from Desh, this could be a difference maker, maybe. And even now, actually, a nice pickup coming in from Cuts takes down Venom Zera, so that's going to be the first blood going in favor for the CT side still. This makes things a little bit more worse for wear. Now the Red Canids again going back for ramp, a good time molly. So now Desh doesn't have the angle and aggressive, but is going to be able to play this a little bit more passive. Now the smoke should be coming in, waiting things out. Man, they are just taking ramp control with absolute ease.
It looks as though every time they're fighting for outside, there's a huge hole in the defense and ramp, and Red Canids have punished time in and time out. But this time around, even though they have ramp control, they are not committing downstairs instantaneously. They're trying to goad out maybe an extra rotation elsewhere, but Desh has them boxed in. They have an understanding that they aren't going to get wrapped into J-Hall, so they can continue to have two players downstairs. But as the time rots away, Red Canids start to have to make some decisions here, and they will commit to that lower site. Unfortunately for them, there are still two players available. Can they find a way to dislodge them, or can this defense stand tall?
Yeah, this is a big angle from Cuts, though. I mean, he kind of pops open the door just a little bit. Right now, he's going to be able to get information. Tries to get cheeky with a kill, but can't. He's taking a ton of damage, but ABR is able to finally get something through control now. Leaving it to a 5-on-3, so still a great advantage right now for the CTs. Bomb's trying to get planted, with the time running down. But the HP's low. Desh is down to 68. Cuts here with 7. Python able to find a great shot, so now they're able to refight for some control, but these AKs need to be blasting towards the double doors, and they're able to, and Davideus finds himself almost the double, looking for a little bit more. Beautiful flick of the wrist, and now just leaving it up to the legend of coldzera on a 1-on-2, burning the clock, already halfway through. They don't know he's there, but he goes wide. Oh no, and this defuse should come through. They got the kit, they're gonna have time, and they're gonna get a 3-1.
Interesting from coldzera. It felt as though he had made the right decision. He was in the right spot at that point, but I think he was just trying to see if he could get somebody in transition. And Desh was in transition there. Unfortunately for him, the second player in the crossing to the bomb was right out in the open. So Corinthians, they passed the test. I mean, it's a 3v5 down on the lower side. It should be converted. But they definitely had to work for it in that situation. Red Canids still have another buy considering the bomb plant went down, but there will be repercussions. Hard down a Tech 9 and coldzera on a Galil. But for right now, Corinthians seem to have found the answer not only outside to hold them back via cuts, but have dealt with the lower side as well.
Good nades coming through, but even Nithon now going to try to get this op into work a little bit. It's a little bit of a scrappier purchase. I mean, coldzera with the Galil. Hardzao with a tech and armor. Okay, Davideus will find that opener now. So the first blood's actually kind of going back and forth a little bit here. But you can just see Red Canids, though, Paladin. I mean, they're getting a lot of control as a unit. This is something I've been really impressed with. I mean, you know, multiple times they've been taking ramp. Now they're getting themselves into hell. And they're going to try to backstab on this. And this might actually be huge because look at Venom Zera right now. He's going to be able to find himself a free duel. There is nobody that's spotting him out. So this is going to be an easy kill. He's just waiting things out. The trigger discipline's huge. Okay, he realizes, yeah, I got to go for it. And look at all that control now.
For some reason, Leggy is also downstairs, though. And that might stop Davideus right in his tracks. Or Venom Zera, rather. Oh, it's just a matter of timing, and yeah, there's absolutely no way that you would know a second player is that quickly downstairs, but that should give them the go-ahead to potentially move elsewhere. I still don't know what the real plan is. They're trying to crunch on to lower, and Hardzao is trying to sell something, but they are downstairs, and now Leggy's position is noted, and it's a 3v3 to ensue. Great position for Red Canids here to convert, especially after that kill from Nithon.
Well, right now, even the CTs, they're so split apart from each other that, again, this isn't going to be worth it. Like, he does get the information of the op being close by, picks it up, and this is going to be Red Canids picking up the second round. And even with the money being this low, like, I don't expect them to be, you know, scrappy and going for a hunt. They're just going to let the CTs take these guns away, but very, very interesting round. And that's what we were kind of talking about on the desk before, right, is the fact that, you know, these teams have played each other multiple times. And this is the interesting thing we're seeing from Red Canids is they're taking it a lot more brute forcey. Like they're just kind of going slow, but they're going as a full unit just to get those trades. Very simple, but it's becoming effective.
It is, and this is what I was talking about before we even went live, is that they've got to find a way to deal with these kind of late outside lurks from players like Venom Zera and Hardzao. It's really difficult to deal with, but that's where the communication has to be in tip-top shape, and right now, both ramp and outside are being run rampant with T-side. And I don't necessarily know if they have an answer just yet. Cuts has got to be extra active to command that respect, and he's doing a decent enough job to at least get some kills outside, but it's not going to be enough, especially now that Venom Zera has taken down his compatriot in ABR. They're now going to try to take a Hail Mary duel outside, wide swinging together, but instead it's just a couple of bullets to the face. Cuts goes down to 30 HP, and things go from bad to worse here, Laz.
Is that actually spammable? What Davideus is doing right now? Like, is that a thing?
I think so. Not for much, I don't think.
I was gonna say, like, it's gonna be nothing. It's like a tickle, right? Like, that's crazy. All right, well, we'll try it later in the MMs, but that's fine. And either way, again, like, this is a great position for Red Canids. Like you were talking about, finding themselves openers. I think that Molly going right into Mini like that was huge because there wasn't a lot of room. Oh, shoulder peaked, and Nithon gets an easy one. Yeah, this thing's falling apart. Leo by himself with an MP9. Got 5 players to go against. Unless they take this like one by one, I mean, maybe a chance here. But they're just kind of hunting now. They're waiting things out. Still lots of time on the clock. I feel like this is just a matter of time before his demise, but knife out to a gunfight. Leo gets himself one easy one. And there's the scrap up. There we go. We're back to a tie game though, Paladin. And honestly, I'm kind of liking this, you know, little bit of a rebound we're seeing from Red Canids. They've been just taking it slow, smooth, and calm and collected.
Yeah, and when they have the guns out, Corinthians don't have an answer to Red Canids' antics so far, and they tried to do what I asked of them and tried to command a little bit of respect outside, but unfortunately they had to do it with nigh any utility and not the most optimal of weaponry either. You didn't have a player in Big Garage, and in that case it's just going to be players from mini dueling, and that's never a fun sign if you're doing it in that sort of fashion. So Red Canids again will move outside. Hardzao finds one of his entries. Davideus finds one through the smoke. And Venom Zera will shut it down as well. This anti-eco looks sublime for them. And should be allowing them to take the lead here on Nuke. As we sort of expected, once they were able to find a buy round, they have slowly righted the ship.
Well, we already see that Red Canids are getting close to their previous game scoreline when they played the Sharks. Just, I'm not even mistaken, I think that was yesterday. And I mean, that was a 13-11 loss, but they were only able to get 4 rounds on their T side. And already now, like you said, if they find this one, they've kind of matched that. So they're in a great position to potentially even do more. Already seeing some good improvements from yesterday's game. But again, for Corinthians, like, they're just kind of in this position where they're probably just looking for exits, any sort of, you know, availability of a wounded player, maybe. They have nothing invested into this, so they have literally no money at all spent. And Red Canids, they just got to make sure they keep all these players alive. Just don't give up any sort of a gun, because that would be the sacrifice.
They're trying outside, and Nithon will go down. That is the AWP, I think.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, it's an AK, but no armor means it's going to be really tough to actually hold on to that. Oh, ABR does find another one on the tail end as well, but this one will be saved. So, a consolation for the Corinthians, and they'll be happy with that.
Yeah, that's big, right? I mean, that's huge, because now he's going to have $4,700, so he can actually drop anybody he needs to, but he's also going to be out of that money for full armor, full utility. So that's a really good pickup, right? Because in a round like that, in round number 7 previously, you had nothing invested. You're just like, look, let's take 1 or 2 guns. We're going to be feeling pretty good. But either way, we're back to round number 8 with a full gun round. Red Canids here still have the AWP ready to go. It's going to be M4s across the board here for the CT side. And this is a big round. I mean, this is where we need to see Corinthians kind of, you know, turn things and get things a little bit more in their momentum. Now it's about aggression coming in from the T side. They're just going to swarm into this inner sight, and they're going to be able to take down Leo. And look at him and Venom Zera. He's creeping himself through mini peekaboo, and there he is. And now he's able to just get himself out of this. The CTs, with a blink of an eye, they have just lost this round so quick.
Oh, this is probably the worst possible scenario to be in if you're Corinthians. You aren't able to hold ramp, you aren't able to hold outside, and now the upper bomb site is very quickly under threat. This is just a damage control situation now for the Corinthians, trying to hold on to some rifles at the tail end, but Laz, that looked absolutely disgusting for them. Unfortunately for them, though, they will be able to recover the AWP for Dash, and ABR should be able to hold on to this unless Venom Zera could have some crazy kills. Oh, the spray is awry. ABR goes down, and Red Canids will climb up to 5 rounds, and Corinthians continue to flounder.
Man, this is the thing I love, though, right? I mean, okay, so this is, I was going to go into this segment too, but it's nice that Corinthians go, okay, look, we got to call a timeout, because even a round like that where they lost it and Red Canids are just kind of mixing the playbook, I love this, because we've been seeing them take outside control. They've been going ramp, you know, numerous times. They've been playing a little bit more slow and just using a ton of utility. That last round was just, look, hold W, let's go in the inner sight, let's mix things up, get in their face, and it worked. And that is the most demoralizing feeling in the world, especially for Corinthians, when you're like prepared, you had all your guns, and you don't really have anything to show for it. They lost, what, 2 or 3 players within like 15, 20 seconds? Like, it was just so quick. It was just a snap.
Don't know how they're going to overcome this, that's for sure. They have to take a save. They're on that max loss bonus, so they can purchase some MP9s and the like, but it's back to the upper site again. Double play out. The 5-7 can do some significant damage, but what a shot from David. I mean, just absolutely running rampant, but there are the trades, and it's just an absolute demolition of the Corinthians. It doesn't matter how many players are on that top site. The Red Canids stay strong. 6 now, the good.
Yeah, this is huge, because this is what we were talking about on the desk. We're like, look, there's a lot of firepower on this Red Canids team. We hope we get to see that. And these last 2 rounds have been just kind of demonstrating that just a little bit, right? But okay, we're back to a full gun round from round number 10, and Op is going to be on the deck here for Desh. So we'll see what they can do a little bit differently. The Ops really haven't been the playmakers in this so far, Paladin. I mean, it definitely has opportunity for a map like Nuke, but I just feel like we haven't really been able to see it too much. But you know what? I'm kind of all for this run and gun play, man. Like, this is sick.
Yeah, it's getting the job done. I mean, I think that Nathan could particularly just keep working with that rifle as well, just considering how easily they're able to claim outside. But they're fine with the post-up AWP as well, I suppose. Cards out, finding an opener, just walking through his own squeaky door smoke. And that's a 2-piece just out the gates. And none of these players can support. Yeah, Desh can re-smoke Squeaky, but the damage is already done. You have lost significant amount of help outside and on this upper site.
Man, that's so filthy. The fact that he just kind of barrels in like that. He just takes fights on his own. Oh, that's where we were kind of talking about, you know, ego and just having a lot of reputation on this, and Hardzao being one of those players to watch for sure. But what a way to find a double opener like that. Now they can just burn the clock a little bit. All this information's coming in. Leo is playing on Mustang, needs to be able to find something. He gets himself 1, maybe 2, he will. But now he's got to go for the reload, and he goes to his own demise here. Cold Zera just waiting for him in Hut. Now the M4s are starting to sing a little bit better. Bringing it back to the 2-2. Desh waiting aside. The flank coming in from him. This could be everything. ABR did have his spidey senses tingling, but Venom Zera needs to be able to find this, but his crosshair placement's just too low. Cold Zera now. Another test for him. The All-Star making tons of noise. He's only got 12 seconds to work with. Enemy from above and below, and Desh is just going to take him out with the AWP, and Red Canids will keep themselves alive in such a unique round.
Yeah, perhaps there was a little overzealousness there to try and continue to pester that upper bomb site. And, I mean, look, this time they did actually have guns, so you can't just continue to bombard that upper site with basically no information. Vent drop was completely plausible. They could have still hit ramp. They could have still used those feelers, and Corinthians punished the mistake and the over-aggressiveness from the Red Canids. And the Red Canids, meanwhile, will have to go back to what's worked for them, and it's that outside control. Venom Zera has pretty much had his way outside in Big Garage and in Hell as well, but this time he'll move down into the lower site instead.
Yeah, and even this player just getting into Secret like this is big, man. This is a ton of real estate control. Absolutely love this. Hards Out does make himself a bit of a noise cue, so ABR does have that. Oh, no. Okay, I was going to say he has a bit of a good angle, but nope. His head's removed. Cuts tries to get a little bit cheeky, but even Nithon gets him with a running shot with the op. Oh, good gracious. Yeah, this one might be packing it in here, Corinthians. I think this round might be done for you. Keep that op alive.
Yeah, a little bit of conditioning there from the Red Canids. Those continuous squeaky door maneuvers from Hards Out has caused, what, a double, triple setup on the upper bomb site? That crossing down into Secret was the perfect counter to the setup that Corinthians had provided. And now, just a mere 2 kills nets them their 7th round. And it's right back to winning ways for them. They're going to go straight into the CT spawn. They don't want to let them save. They're dumping all of their utility here to try and dislodge them. But unfortunately for them, they're all the way on the other side of the map. They're all the way in T-spawn, and they'll be able to save their weapons.
Oh, man. Just a full exec into spawn. You're like, yeah, we're going to find him. We got to get him, right? But oh, man. All right. Well, it is round number 12, last round of the first half. And like I said, Red Canids have already shown a ton of improvement recently from their other games. And they've got themselves sitting at a 7-4 currently. But the question is, can they find themselves at 8? Or can Corinthians, my apologies, find themselves at least this 5th to transition over to their better side of being on T side, where they do have that 51.2% win rate. But time will tell here. No rush coming inside this one, Paladin. Instead, Red Canids, they might go back to the old bread and butter. They might just go back for that outside little take. And yeah, David Days is going to find a double. Oh, man. This thing's just getting worse for wear.
He's finally, or at least one of his friends have been put down in Venom Zera, trying to get cheeky through that outside smoke. And Davideus tries to get a little frisky there as well. Right back to a 3 versus 3, but there's Cold Zera to settle the nerves a little bit. Leo goes down, and they'll just call for a little bit of a freeze here. I don't mind it. Try to force out a misrotation here, make them uncomfortable. This is all on a timer, though. Leggy has gotten his way into T-Roof, and ABR has made his way into the upper site. So, whether they know it or not, they've got to start to make some decisions and start clearing things out, because this could get very dangerous if they leave the clock very low.
Mm-hmm. Well, even ABR right now is kind of banking on somebody crossing in front of Mini like this. So even if they don't, like, again, he's not going to have any information. So they're split apart from each other. And even Red Canids now, they're just going to walk through Secret. Going to take that stroll together. Time is getting low, though. 17 seconds remaining. They got the smoke, though, so they can block things off here for the plant. But they got to get going now. They got to get something done, because if somebody's able to get this, it would be problematic. But no CTs close on by. 6 seconds! What are they doing? Do they even know what's remaining in the clock? Oh, no, the round's over! Oh, no! They don't even know how to read the clock. My goodness, we're going to take that short little break, and we'll have to see who's going to be able to prevail. Well. We're finally back here for the second half, and we talked a lot about, work that Red Canids have to get through and, getting their roster on the same page, and it looks like time management might be that as well, but they still got themselves a 7-5, and Paladin, how we feeling?
I mean, for the most part, it looked like they were doing their job, but yeah, you could definitely tell there's still a couple of kinks to be ironed out here for the Red Cannon side, but at the end of it all, it's still 7 rounds on their T side, and now they have to close it out here on the defense. Zeus up close for Hard Zhao. I don't see this too often, but a double dual Beretta setup could also be deadly. Cold Zera outside, finding the opening frag, and Hard Zhao actually missing the Zeus as well. So the early gambits not working in Corinthians, or so not working in the Red Canids' favor, and they'll get the bomb plant Corinthians on the upper site.
Yeah, and again, there's no kits here too, right? So, I mean, this is a lot of pressure here for his Davideus. Oh, he's not even able to, so this cowboy can't get anything done. USP now, nice little Tapperino. Python now going to see what he can do. Picks things up, goes for a swing. But might be able to find something. Yes, he will. Oh, man, that's going to be a double. Now just leaving it to Leo by himself. He does make it to the 1v1. Oh, man! That's a sick shot. Should be enough time. And Nithon comes up massive with a quad kill.
My goodness. I mean, talk about just the RNG of the dual Berettas, right? You see one player in Davideus trying to swing for the fences in Hut, can't connect anything. Nithon on the other end, doing so much work with it off of his dead corpse, finding a triple kill there and securing the round for the Red Canids. Corinthians, of course, will have a purchase here considering the bomb plant, but way to dodge a bullet after that miss from Hardzao and the Zeus, and Cold Zera dying after one outside.
Man, just when you think there's Corinthians able to get themselves potentially another round there, bring things a little bit closer. Ooh, that's not good. No, that's not what you want. It's a little CS2 moment right there. Giving away a free smoke here for the T side, but, crisis should be averted. Nade's not going to be able to connect anything either, so Hardzal not really playing the utility game the best to his abilities right now. Second time's a charm here for the smoke. And a lot of investment, though, so that bomb plant actually does get them to put the Gliels, Mac 10s, and a bit of utility on the board here, Paladin. And I actually don't disagree with this. I think this is the best idea for them right now.
Oh, 100%. And now they have an opportunity to burst into this upper site. They're going to throw smokes outside, but Leggy is still itching to move in through the hut. Hardzao will meet him head on in a due matter of moments. Here it comes. That head-to-head goes 1 for 1. Leo can still get out of the hut, but the Molotovs are so good for the CTs that Corinthians are completely stopped out. They have no way to get in, and then they realize, how the hell does Nithon have an AWP in the second round? And before they can figure it out, they're all dead.
Man, that's such a good point that you bring up, because again, such a simple detail but pays off massive is the fact that the mollies just slowed everything down, right? Like Corinthians, they get that kill, they got that trade in hut, they were ready to just rush on in, but those mollies, they couldn't do anything. That you either run through it, take a ton of damage and probably get killed, or you got to sit back and kind of wait, right? And that's exactly what they do. Red Canids they light them up, man, and that was perfectly good usage of the utility. And again, that's just some of those details that can just change rounds tenfold.
Again, Nithon doing so much work with that AWP now that he's gotten it this early on. Of course, it's into a weaker buy, but getting that sort of pressure and commanding the respect of the T's is so important. Oh, nice shot from Desh, but it should be only a parting frag. Nithon actually gets hit in the head with that deagle, but it must have been through a wall because that doesn't actually convert into a kill. And now he goes down. It's just cuts left up in this. Any damage is some good damage here, but he'll get nothing. David cleans it up, and double digits found for Red Canids.
Yeah, this is good. Now already sitting double digits. It was a decent first half that came through, but now Red Canids are really just starting to show that they are a strong CT side team. I mean, it is technically on paper their better side, right? I mean, it is a 62% win rate on this in comparison to their T side, which is about 52. But either way, Red Canids have really just shown us that they got a decent system going in right now. Gun round is going to come through here for Corinthians. The AWP is going to be brought out too. So this is a big round, man. I mean, we talk a lot of investment. This could maybe, you know, shift it, maybe the momentum a little bit. And yeah, no, it's going to be Nithon. That's going to be a little bit more the nail to the coffin on this one. Now just finding multi-frags, putting themselves in a 5-on-3. And these T's, look at how spread apart they are. Player's going to be able to jump in front of Mini, but again, there's just not much they can work with.
And they're trying to get Leo activated, and same for Leggy, but Leo goes down, and now it's just Leggy outside. So dynamic on the AWP is Nithon right now. He's doing so much work. And Davideus will pretty much end the round there. Desh, minute and 10 on the clock, considering a save or maybe even a clutch. Either way, it's pretty much a very pick your poison type of situation. Either way. So he'll try his hand at the clutch, moves through the ramp. Lucky for him, I think it should be open. So
yeah,
he does potentially have a route downstairs.
Yeah, but I mean, you're clutching with an op. He's got a full chamber here, so he does have 5 shots he could go for. I almost wonder if it's worth going for this, though. I mean, if he could get the plant, I mean, yes, that'd be nice in terms of money, just give the score line right now, but at the same time, I feel like you want to kind of preserve this AWP for the following round for 17, but looks like he might be able to get something here. And Red Canids are just kind of grouped up outside. 17 seconds remaining. Yeah, it's a free plant if he wants it. Oh, he's going to go for it, too.
Yeah, he's still worried that there's at least one player downstairs, but everybody is upstairs, so Dash has an opportunity to try and clutch this up in the 1v4. But all these players on the Red Canids are triangulating his position. He does find the first, spots out the second, but can't nail the shot. Takes significant damage, and at this point, I think you just need to cut your losses. Yeah. Save this AWP, got the bomb plant and a kill, and give away at 11th. It's a valiant attempt from Desh, but at the end of the day, it's a pretty slim chance to convert that round in any situation.
No, that's perfect, right? Like, that's what we were kind of saying. Like, look, like, he could just try to save the op. He does, right? And he gets the bomb down. He does actually, like you said, pick up that extra kill. So that is going to make a bit of a difference here because now there's some extra coin that's available. These guys can now have full utility with these AKs. I mean, there is going to be cuts with the Galil, but that was big. I mean, just cut the losses, try to get everything done here for this round. But if they fall in this one, this could be detrimental. This could be a problem here, Paladin. And Red Canids might be able to make themselves a big statement here today on Nuke.
Again, we talked about the importance of this map and the series for the Corinthians. They're trying to get some points here to and potentially notch a spot in relegation, or they might just get straight back down to open, which would be horrific considering the hard work that they put in last season to get here. So really a lot riding on this best of one and the future one as well. And for the Red Canids, they are getting the business done.
Now things are a big swing. That's nice from Leggy. Take down Nithon. So back to an even one. Okay, even now Desh finds himself a little tasty treat. Taking down Ardzal. These Red Canid players are starting to drop like flies. Utility's getting a little bit more lackluster. And now Venom Zera. Venomous Bite here, and now just waiting things on top of Hut. Makes his presence known. Still lots of noise. 7HE still... Oh, what? He gets a free kill on that? I can't believe he finds that one too. And now Corinthians slithering their way into this site. I don't think Venom's going to expect this at all. He will not. This is just becoming a lot of one-on-one fights. Called Zera. Can't seem to land the kill. Davideus now is coming in through heaven as well, but this HE could do the job. Could at least take down one of these players. Oh, that's so chunky, man. That's so filthy.
But at the end of it all, ABR still finds the kill, and that means Coldzera's thrust into yet another 1v2. But unfortunately, that missed shot that he had off of the Hut player does cost him dearly, and Corinthians will get themselves a 6th. Credit to Leggy in finding space outside, and well done to AR and Desh inside to secure the post plant as well. Red Canids will have to work a little bit longer and harder to find themselves that magic number 13.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique round, just a lot of back and forth, but really impressive from Corinthians, especially bouncing back in such a chaotic first, 30 seconds of the round. But okay, they're still alive in this one, Paladin, and money's still going to be spent here for Red Canids. They do have the MP9 for Davideus, so Cold now playing on credit card. Now even Corinthians kind of waiting things a bit slower. Nice little bit of a crossfire between Venom Zera. Smoke walls coming in. I mean, look at that timing, man. The fact that he's even able to find that, that's huge. So now they can just back off, and now Corinthians have to work even harder to find something of a duel.
Oh, and Nython adds insult to injury. Leo goes down with nothing, and it's another gargantuan task for the Corinthians to overcome. Coldzera spots the fall off, and the bomb is stuck in secret, so really the Corinthians have no other choice but to try and regroup, maybe hit ramp, or get down the vent to support his team. But ABR's made a sound cue, and I think Hardzao has heard this. He has. ABR goes down, and slowly, one by one, this team is getting absolutely whittled away. 30 seconds left on the clock, and Davideus has made the right rotation as well. This is really the duel that decides it. Cuts onto Davideus. And here it comes. Kill actually does go in the favor of Cut, so we'll get the bomb down, but it's going to be tough to actually overcome this 2v4.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the numbers are still a big effect here, right? I mean, this is the thing, but the op's still in the play. Dash does have it ready to go. Cut's even now making his way a little bit more aggressively on the ramp. Might be able to find something. Does have the utility. Double flash with the HE. Oh, this time it could be everything. Are they even going to expect this? Oh my goodness, all of them are not looking there. Coldzera's got a bit of an inkling. Okay, he's able to find it now, but Dash has to do something big. He was on a clutch before. Can he do it again? Flash comes in. The defuse is already being commenced. No kit, though. They don't have a lot of time on this. I don't know if they're going to get this. They're not. No, Corinthians. They're going to win it again with a timer? Twice in this game?
They had 2 kits, and I think they were on the 2 players that died at the beginning of the round. And neither of them had picked it up on the way into the bomb site. And that actually seemed to have been their demise, because they had made the cross in, and I think they were under the assumption that one of those players had a kit, but the fact that none of them did is actually such a travesty. It's a couple of unfortunate, unforced errors being caused out by the Red Canids, and Corinthians are getting multiple chances to get back into this game. It's just up to them of whether or not they can pull it all the way back. They've still got a 4-round haul to try and overcome, and this round should be one of those easier ones.
Yeah, unless we see some kind of crazy beast mode coming in from Coldzera or Venom Zera too, right? I mean, these guys are kind of in the driving seat. They have to get something big with these rifles, but that's asking a lot, man. I mean, this is, you can't just rely on 2 players to get that much firepower, but you never know, though. The timing could be right. Corinthians actually just kind of posted up a little bit on this. They find that first engagement, taking down Nython. Now they're just going to kind of plant themselves and wait. I really, really like this. They got tons of time on the clock, right? They can just wait it out. Get the antsy coming in from Red Canids. Oh, just like that. I was just going to say, like, somebody's going to want to push, and it's going to be Coldzera. The nade comes in. Not going to land on Leo. And they're not even able to retrieve this rifle. Maybe, though. Oh, yeah, Davideus will grab it. So this is still making things a little bit more interesting. No, it's not. Just kidding. All right, well, they ruined my fun.
Well, it's just Hardzao on this upper site with the measly CZ75. He finds the first and a second. So Hardzao makes it a bit reasonable here for Venom Zera to go for this. Considering they've completely saved, why not try to attempt, especially after the bomb hasn't gone down. He's actually spotted the bomb as well. So he's just going to wait for it to get recovered before he decides to go up the vent if he wants to. And he does. Finally makes it out. Finds the headshot. Now we're on for it, especially considering he has a kit as well. Both of these players have made it into Hut. It's just all about segmenting these 1v1s for Venom Zera. And he's very keen on thinking there's a player in the back of the silo, but nobody's actually showing. And unfortunately for him, in all of that time and in all that chaos, Leo wraps all the way around into the squeaky door, and Venom Zera is denied in the 1v2.
Yeah, this is starting to get really scrappy, man. Corinthians are definitely putting themselves back in a great position. I mean, they're still down with a bit of a deficit, but still, this thing is climbing back to be a closer and closer game. But a gun round coming through, one more. No op here for both these sides. Even ABR actually has a MAC 10, so could see some aggression potentially. I mean, I'd be curious to see if Corinthians, got enough in them that they want to go for a full rush, and maybe so. Lobby control. Looks like ramp might be the test, and good damage getting inflicted here from Davideus. He's able to get himself out of this, dash away. Cuts has taken down so much damage. Sitting at 10 HP, sitting at 1:33 remaining for this round, but look at how much control Leo has right now, too. So he's got actually a good position to cut somebody off from heaven or hell. And the opening duel goes in favor for them again.
Yeah, Red Canids are in trouble now. Corinthians are starting to warm up. They're starting to piece together these rounds. And especially considering Nithon has gone down, there is space outside to take. Venom Zera had to move downstairs, and Hardzao is on a bit of an island here. The heads-up duel, and ABR wins it. Venom Zera immediately there for the trade. Back and forth we go, 3v3. Leggy goes through the smoke. It's a little awry on the spray, but he still gets the job done on the Cold Zera. And 50 seconds left on the clock. There's a lot of options here for the Corinthians. They want to wrap it a mini into the A side. It's possible. If they want to move down in the secret, they can try to deal with that 1v1 onto Davideus. But they've got to make a decision together, and they've got to do it now. But fortunately, they don't have to come up with an answer. The answer comes right to them in the form of Davideus. And now Venom Zera thrust into a very much and another tough clutch.
Yeah, this is asking a lot. Again, no kit. Doesn't have any utility either. So this could be a round where Venom Zera might just have to save the gun, honestly. You got an AK available in front of you if you want. Still a possibility to attempt it, but I mean, the money just sucks, man. Just wouldn't be worth it, in my opinion. And yeah, I think he's kind of tucking his tail. Bit of a conversation probably happening with the team right now. And we haven't seen a timeout come through for Run Canids yet. It's actually just been Corinthians that's called it. So I'd be curious to see if they want to go for a timeout and just kind of clear things up a little bit. Because like you said, Corinthians have really started like cooking up a bit more. They're starting to get that steam moving. And this is kind of the thing, man. Like the momentum is now built up a lot here. They've been able to put some consecutive rounds in place.
It's getting worrying. It's getting worrying if you're a Red Canids fan. And the Corinthians, I mean, I will say that the rounds that they were able to string together previously felt like a lot of unforced errors on the Red Canids side, but slowly and surely, it does feel as though they're winning their rounds now on their own merit, and this is probably the worst situation to be if you are a favorite in this situation, right? Because now you have to overcome an underdog that is slowly gaining steam on you, and you don't have that same sort of commanding presence that you were expecting to have throughout this game. Outside control is being lost pretty regularly. Your opper is being found out time in and time out beyond those first couple of rounds in the half. So you've got to find a way to manufacture some rounds together. Otherwise, this lead is going to very quickly diminish right before your eyes.
Well, even Venom Zera just takes so much damage with that nade. At least he can find himself that kill. So it goes at least for the 1-on-1. But again, this might not be enough. That was the one rifle saved up, and now it's just going to be Deagles with a CZ. Haven't seen that in forever. And now a double stack coming into ramp. Cold Zera just looking for the spot, hoping somebody will run into the crosshair here. Still 1:15 left. Oh, a bit slow in the draw. Steel ain't blazing yet. Now even again, Corinthians just posted up and waiting, man. Slow and steady. Not winning the race yet here, Paladin, but it's becoming potentially a situation.
Situation indeed. Maybe you can get some Deagle headshots going with Cold Zera. We've seen him do some insane stuff with that weapon across his career. But this one might be a bridge too far. I see that he finds one. Oh, and unfortunately, Nithon falls to his doom. If he had just hung around for a little bit longer, perhaps he would have been rewarded with one. And that's where the round falls apart. ABR gets a double. Cuts does the same outside. And again, it's Hardzao with the CZ. Finds himself one. And does have the bomb within his grasp. Unfortunately, he also runs away. Smartly played by Cuts. ABR is here to cut off the vent rotate. And there it is. Wow, it actually got really close there to find it down to a 1v1, but Corinthians make it a one-round game.
Yeah, it was a bit of a labored spray, but at least he gets done. And now double digits, right? So Corinthians are 1 round away, like you said, from a tie. And holy moly, this was a massive scoreline before. So Red Canids, again, this is where we talked about this team needs to figure out them, the dynamic and like the structure and how they're going to work together. And I think this is the test, right? I mean, having a big lead, now kind of losing control of it. Those are not easy feats to go over as a team. So we'll see now. This is going to be an important one here for round 22. Potentially map point here for Red Canids, but also an opportunity for a tie game, opening things up for a lot of conversations. And now Coldzera even playing deep in garage, just watching for the cross, changing the position of Nithon, so he's not just going to play outside. He's not going to put that op out this. So now they're trying to change things up a little bit here, Paladin, and I think they've taken a little bit of notes of what you said.
Yeah, and you do have Nithon actually training from the AC Con, trying to get some sort of information, but he falls away. And so does Davideus. They are very keen on potentially a lower wrap that they do have to send some heavy resources to deal with that. Coldzera doesn't see anything from the mini side. And it's just a standstill, a complete standstill from the Corinthians. And I don't mind this when you are so hot on this T side. Force the Red Canids to make a move on you and potentially punish them in transition, but eventually they do have to go. 40 seconds left on the clock, and they're going to make their way into this A site. They're trying to split in. Coldzera has an opportunity to find a couple kills, and he does. He shuts down Cuts. That mini wrap is dead. But they've got to deal with Hardtown, and they can't. Beautiful work there from the upper anchor. And now this round slips away as Red Canids look to get themselves map point.
Man, that was so big, though. Again, like Hardtown, the fact that he's able to find that double kill in that kind of a position, that changes everything. His teammate had the smoke. It's just been high grounds here for the CT side. Davideus will find himself that double. So there we go. Red Canids will take that round with a flawless here. Not a single person goes down. They're going to be on map point. And this is huge. Or the first series point, I should say, for the first best of one. And now Corinthians, a tough task. They need 2 more rounds to push an overtime. But what a way for Red Canids to find themselves a statement to getting themselves in this kind of a position. I was getting a little bit worried for them. But man, when you need those heavy hitters, they finally start to pack that punch.
They're trying to get a little bit of control, and it's just so unfortunate with what the comeback has been for the Corinthians. Now they're dealt with 3 Tech 9s and a couple AKs, and that's just what they're going to have to do to make it work. Missed Molotov in secret to make matters worse. But they will make themselves known outside. They will be able to get downstairs. And that's something that hasn't been very kind to them so far. A chance to run rampant in this lower side. Davideus is going to have his hands full. But he actually went back upstairs, I think. Which means that there is nobody there to greet them in the lower site right now.
Yeah, they're just going to play full retake. Oh, there we go. Okay, never mind. I was going to say, like, are they really going to try to go for a full retake on the lower site? Like, this is kind of scary, but okay. But Davideus is here, playing in a great position. As soon as his door opens, at least if he can stay alive as long as he can, that'll be huge. He's in a great power position to find himself potentially multi-frags. Get that smoke through there. Oh, goes for a swing, but cuts. That's a deep one. Oh, and the op just barely missing it too. Nithon just about to make that connection. And these CTs, they're not really moving too fast here, Paladin. They're still kind of anticipating somebody to be outside. They got the right inkling, but are they going to expect Leo to be here? Well, Zera spots the head, and there it is. But they're going to save these guns. They realize this is not worth the retake. And they're going to let Corinthians have another round.
Yeah, I think they just want to win this one in regulation. I don't mind it. Considering you have 3 AKs as well, that one-shot headshot potential is always something to be happy about. And you don't like to do it in a man-even situation like this, but that lower Brom side is one of the hardest sites to retake as a whole. Cuts goes down, so there will be a rebuy being forced out, but he's got 5k in the bank. We'll have all the bells and whistles here in the final round of regulation. And Red Canids, at this point, they just want to get away with the W more than anything. It doesn't matter whether it's pretty or not. They just want to put this to bed before things get ugly.
Yeah. I mean,
Honestly,
look
it
at
has gotten ugly.
well, it has. Yeah, I was gonna say, look, this is it's been a little bit not great. It's been a little ugly, but you know what? A win is a win, right? And like you said, if they can get things done before overtime, that would be huge. So I think for them, that is a good call. Corinthians now looking like they're going to get that lobby control quickly. I thought they might have tried something fast, but I think these nades, again, just kind of slow things down. TTs have already burned a lot, and it's going to be a hot spam. And man, I can't believe Leo's alive. 13 HP to spare to his name.
That's dicey stuff there for Leo, but you'll live to tell the tale. Smoke up into the squeak door. As Corinthians, their opening plays do not net them anything. So they come down to the standstill again. They're very okay with continuing to stall out this T side. Hoping for some sort of aggression being given by the Red Canids, but nothing is coming. It's actually all into the open arms of Coldzera. He finds his first, and oh my god! Falling through the secret stairs, clips his wings. What a way to get it back into the 4v4.
Oh, man. I think Coldzera thought he was good. He was covered by the smoke, but that's just filthy. 4-4 with 35 seconds remaining. So now these T's, they got to get moving. They got to make a play here. They got to do something big. And now it's going to be ramped. Demedeus does have the augo. Flash is coming in. Look at that! He's able to find the 2, make it a 3rd, and that's going to be the 13-11. Red Canids will get the job done without needing an overtime, and they get that best of 1 in their pocket.
Ooh, I was going to say business as usual for the Red Canids multiple times there. But look, credit to the Corinthians for keeping it as close as it was. They punished every mistake that was given to them, but they strung all those rounds together and nearly had the comeback in the palm of their hand. Unfortunately, dropped the ball at pretty much the worst possible round where their economy had not been stabilized, and then it all comes crashing down. Commiserations to them, but for the Red Canids, they should just be happy that they got away with the win here.
Yeah, honestly, I think, I'm still pretty impressed with the way that Corinthians were able to get themselves in this game, though, because there was a huge loss or a huge deficit. And so I think the fact that we're even talking a 13-11 is a pretty good thing for them. But either way, that best of 1 is going to be done. We do have one more best of 1 game that is going to come through as well, and that is going to be on Mirage. And we are just going to take a very short break as we let these players kind of cool things off. We'll be back at the Dusty Trails of Mirage. We'll see you in just a little bit. All right, welcome back, gamers. We're ready to go for the second best of one here for ESL Challenger League for South America. And now we get to see if it is going to be potentially a 2-0 for the day, or maybe Corinthians can show us a nice even split with a 1-1. Laz and Paladin to bring things through here on Mirage. And what are your thoughts? I mean, this was kind of a different veto than I was expecting.
Yeah, I mean, Nuke, I do think that it was a little bit more Red Canids favored, but we're moving towards Mirage, which for the roster that's being playing with right now, which isn't even the true Corinthians roster, I think Mirage would probably be the safest bet, especially considering Dust2 isn't in the pool right now. So yeah, as you can see, Nuke cannot be played as that. That was the first best of one that we were on just earlier. Red Canids take out Inferno, Ancient, and Vertigo. Corinthians obviously will take out Overpass as it is their perma, and they will take out Anubis as well, which has been very unkind to them. And yeah, that's where we end on Mirage, which is basically the only map where they have any sort of success. 33% win rate over the last 6 maps, which is what, 2 and 6, which is not pretty, but it is actually their most winningest map if I had to give a phrase to it.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, but yeah, okay, look, and I mean, we switch things over. We talk about Red Canids again. I mean, they're sitting on a 4-0 streak on this, more recently playing on Mirage, and they've taken down teams like Bestia, Pain, Vikings. You know, they've been able to go through a lot of different opponents, and they've had some pretty good score lines. They also did have a 16-13 win against a team called Intense. So again, it kind of raises a lot of things that they are playing well in Mirage, and I think, in my opinion, this is going to make it a little bit more favorable for them, just because we did talk a lot about the firepower. We talked a lot about those individual players that can really start to shine. A map like Mirage, it's a bit more forgiving that way, so I'm kind of expecting Red Canids to be able to showcase that a bit. But at the same time, I don't want to discount here Corinthians, because I think Cuts, like, he wasn't the top fragger by the team by any means, but honestly, he was able to find some really impactful duels, and he was able to get himself some pretty good situations in duels when needed.
Yeah, Cuts look good, and I thought Desh had his moments as well. It's clear to me that there is a little bit of firepower on this roster, but they really just have to be let off the leash a little bit and start to go ham. Very excited to see how this final best of one actually unfolds. It's an opportunity for Red Canids to go 2-0 on the day, climb up the spots here in the competition as this regular season comes to a tail end. But the Corinthians, they still have a chance to even the odds here.
Well, for Corinthians too, I mean, like, historically on paper, I mean, both CT and T side for them is pretty close. It's about a 47-44, so it's not too bad, all things considered. Red Canids, though, are going to have to showcase the USPs. Pistol rounds haven't been their favorite sometimes, but they've been able to get those dualies in effect, but now the Glocks seem to be doing something a little bit different. Making the advantage right now for Corinthians, putting themselves on the 3-on-2. Plant's going to come through triple, so now they're going to be able to isolate into CT spawn. They're going to be able to get a lot of control on this. And there could be even a potential flank coming in from Leo. So if they can play their cards right, burn the clock a little bit more, he can be the playmaker. Coldzera, a bit of a tickle here on the shoulder. Now things are becoming more of an issue, tenderizing these opponents, but they're running out of time. And there it is. Leo, oh, you gotta hit these. You gotta hit these, and he's gonna be able to. And there it is. Corinthians finally get themselves another pistol.
Yeah, well played in that post plant. You know, you have a player in back triple, you have a player in back pallets, and you could tell all they were doing there was stalling for time, allowing for Leo to have that flank in the jungle. And as soon as that one bullet pops through, ABR pounces. Coldzera can't do anything. And they do find themselves that elusive pistol that they've been searching for quite a bit now. P250 surprising for Dash. I think he wants to save. Virtually no investment committed to by the Red Canids, bar Davideus with Evil, a P250 from Coldzera, and a Zeus from Hardzao.
Yeah, it might be used right here. Look at this. Oh, Cuts. Cuts. He's not even looking. He's looking up, and that's a free duel. Oh, you love to see it. You just love to see it. That's not a bad one, too. A Mac 10 is going to be picked up. Venom Zera is just getting eradicated here with just utility alone. He's sitting at 6 HP. Deep smoke wall coming in. Going to block off jungle and connector. Haven't seen this used for a little bit, so now it's actually pretty nice considering with the pistols, and that's going to be another kill coming in. This is not too bad of a save round.
Yeah, at this point you want to potentially find maybe another. There was trying to bait in Hard Zal's Mac 10, but no armor means you can't have an extended fight. ABR shuts it down. He's had a hot start to this Mirage so far. And Coldzera on the way out, trying to find one more. Maybe even a gun to scoop up, if possible. But it'll all be just mere damage and not kills. Leggy will live on 16. Corinthians get that pistol conversion. And Red Canids will have their buy round fully available with no ninth on AWP, mind you, while Cuts on the other end will be able to drop it over to Dash.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting move, but I mean, you know what? Honestly, like, I don't mind this. Like, I think the fact that, you know, they're going to just keep it, I think the utility a little bit makes a bit more sense, have that armor. I'm not against this. I think it'll be nice to see what they can do with it. And if they find this round, there's a big potential to pick up this AWP. They're going to go aggressive into Palace. ABR now might not know that there's two of them, but at least the trade comes in. It's a one-on-one duel. Corinthians now putting a little bit more attention onto this A ramp. Venomzera trying to get aggressive, but he's just melting alive. And again, back to the 1-on-1s, leaving it in a 3 versus 3 now. With still 1:26 remaining. The bomb is still in T-spawn. They are just deciding, what do we want to do here? Like, this is not working out like we wanted it to.
Yeah, they were hoping to have a favorable trade to goad them into this A site, but going even is not enough for them to accelerate. They're trying to punish some sort of a late flank, but it's not coming. Coldzera sits in the back of the A site. Corinthians look to potentially re-execute as they swap guns back into Desh's hands. Smokes are available. One smoke is available, specifically. And Desh will just hold the line to allow for the rest of his players to scale up with him. I mean, there's two players to potentially greet, but I think they're just very willing to play a retake setup and see if they can get the job done in the post.
Yeah, some good mollies to push back these CTs. But Coldzera still lurking. Plant's going to come through in front of default. Oh, man, he's made his noise. Yeah, they know exactly he's here. This is interesting. They're grouped up. Op actually misses. Dash actually a bit of an uncharacteristic shot. Doesn't land. Coldzera is going to win that duel. Now things are getting a little bit scary here. The T's playing a bit of a crossfire, but the smoke's coming in. They're going to be able to find one. Cuts gets the position away. Defuse not going to be done here. Instead, it's going to be Hardzal. Bit of a jiggle. No kid on this defuse either, so this is going to be a full 10-second defuse. Oh, you got to hit this!
Oh, no!
Oh, no! Oh, no! This could be problematic. Knife swinging! Knife is not getting connections, and the defuse still comes through! Oh, dear goodness!
Oh, and those extra spams that Cuts unnecessarily put in denies him from picking up the AWP as well. Oh, that is heartbreak for the Corinthians. They did everything right after a huge whiff from Hardzal. Oh my goodness. Mistakes all over the shop, but the score reads 2-1. We're just getting started on Mirage here, folks. We've got a lot of game to play still.
Oh, man. Man, those smokes are ruthless. They're so ruthless in CS2, man. You go through like a desert storm. You just have no idea what you're doing. So unforgiving. So close too, man. The fact that he actually hits him with the knife as well. Just more insult to injury. But either way, Op still on the deck. Dash gonna try it again. Wasn't successful before in round 3. Maybe this one could be. Slowing things down a lot more now. A couple FAMASs coming in from the CT side, which is a bit of a desperate buy. You can be proven wrong though, Paladin. Has your opinion changed on them yet? Or are you still feeling the same way?
Not yet. I think the main reason why is it just isn't their final roster, right? It does feel like they are forced to play. Not even feel like, it is just that they are forced to play with this roster because of the roster lock rules that ECL have. And for that reason, I'm just thinking about it as like, okay, if they can make a deeper run, if they can somehow qualify the playoffs, then we can see the real might of them. So this is like a stall out technique of sorts for the Corinthians. They're just trying to hold their heads above water more than anything. But they will execute onto the B site here. They have a chance to potentially split over And there are 3 players to greet them. Hardzal goes down with nothing, and now it means that Coldzera has to shoulder a lot of control here. He finds a double with this FAMAS, putting in some significant work here. Denies the plant as well. Coldzera has done his job and then some. It's just Cuts now left in the clutch, trying to get this bomb down, but he's getting run down by Nithon. Free upgrade for him, and the Red Canids shut things down, cut off the money supply for the Corinthians, and they found a way to right the ship here, Laz.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing, right? Like, I was kind of waiting for these rounds to see Coldzera kind of, like, you know, get a cool multi-frag moment, and it comes with a FAMAS. So, yeah, I'll take it. That's fine. And honestly, he played that picture perfect. I mean, he goes through the swing, takes down the planter, just kind of isolating the duel, and he did so much work on his own. So, love to see Coldzera kind of giving us a little bit of a glimpse of what he can bring, right? And now we're back to a 2-2, and even with the bomb plant, Corinthians are just going to have to put some pistols, very light utility on this. It's going to be 1 smoke with 1 molly and a flash. So, I mean, there's not a lot riding on this. This could just be a little bit of a contact one to see what they can find. Tech 9s and Deagles are the composition. And honestly, they're really spread out right now. I mean, you kind of have the 1-1-3, which seems a little bit odd.
Yeah, but Nithon still finds the kill that he's looking for. And a second. Leo cannot confirm that frag, that trade. And Davideus, Venomzera, they'll close the round out pretty cleanly. Near flawless rounds in terms of damage there. And a clean sheet means a lot of money gained for the Red Canids. Corinthians now have quite an uphill battle with the buy that they bring forward. Lackluster utility as well. What is this? 2 smokes? 3 smokes? And 2 mollies? You're very limited, and 2 flashbangs more importantly, so you're going to have to take a lot of dry, raw aim duels here against some of the very best in South America.
Yeah, you definitely are. Good nades coming in, though. A little bit of work, but Desh is kind of pushed back a little bit on towards the deep end of bench. And oh, he does get that kill, so he's going to be able to find him. Bomb's going to still be dropped on this. Now things are slowing down a little bit here. Losing Coldzera. This is not a bad pickup, and Corinthians now put themselves in the 5-on-4, and this was something that we felt was kind of like a little bit back and forth on Nuke, right? I mean, they do well on the opening duel, but then it just seems to collapse all of a sudden.
They're going to have to find a way to make it work here. Walking through the A main, clearing out all these close range angles. They're still so worried about the possibility of a snake in the grass. But Venomzera is all the way back in spawn. Molly, smoke deployed, calling for the cavalry instantaneously. They know that there's still a potential for a round here. And Venomzera continues to scale closer and closer. And now that he's gotten information, it's time to duel. He finds the first, trying to find a little bit more before he goes down, but he stands tall. A double for Venomzera, and make it off, potentially a third. Finished off by Leo. Hardzau's there to pick up the pieces. And Desh now left in a 1v3. Not much time on the clock either. This looks like a 4th round teed up for the Red Canids.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, again, just kind of, you know, concede defeat, just take the op, keep it in your hands. This is the play. And I mean, this is, again, what we talked about just a little bit on the pre-show is like, look, Red Canids are in a position where on the CT side, they can show us a lot of that firepower. They can show us, you know, some of those players individually popping off. The fact that, you know, Venomzera finds himself the double, kind of things getting split apart a little bit here between, you know, Davideus and Hardzau. These were critical frags, and like you said, standing tall, and they've got themselves a 2-round lead now. And the money's still flowing pretty nicely here, and the money is just not the same case here for the T side. So these are kind of the awkward situations too, right, Paladin? I mean, you got to work around the AWP as much as you can, and why not take a silver bullet?
Yeah, I couldn't say it better myself. Desh at this point, a lot of onus on him. He's been able to produce some nice shots throughout this best of 1 series, but now he's got to go one step above. Necessary impact needed, but he goes down with nothing, Laz.
Oh, man, okay, yeah, that's nice. I mean, you know, it's a little bit of fragging coming in here. A little bit of desperation, a little bit of, you know, hoping for something with the Deeg. was saying the silver bullet, right? Okay, Op's going to be picked up. Oh, Venom. Oh, Venom. Oh, Venom. Oh, he didn't see him. No way. No way he didn't see him. Okay, maybe they did. Yes, they did. All right, I was going to say, there's no way he missed that. Even a 4x3, you should be able to see that as well. But okay, we're back to a 4-3 still. Red Canids are still the man up. Davideus will get himself an easy one through the heavens. And now the Ops are just making connections. And ABR, maybe? He will not. All right, Red Canids putting themselves only one round of a differential between 6. And honestly, this has looked pretty convincing since, I mean, the third round, in my opinion.
Yeah, now they're starting to get a little bit more comfortable in these defaults. They're finding ways to plug the holes as quickly as possible. And Corinthians, this is a tough time to be in. They will call a timeout to try and discuss their options, but right now they are considerably against the wall. 8K on Hard Zhao, 5K for Nithon, David, and Coldzera means that, I mean, they've got a lot of money to chew through in these buy rounds, and they've got a ballooning lead right before them. So this is kind of what I was expecting when we were on Nuke. And unfortunately for the Corinthians, it's only going to get worse from here if they can't keep up in this round number 8.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better. And now we'll see the Op back out again. The Op. Venom Zera going to take a nice little bit of a jog here through middle. Ooh, he's got a bit of a gap. Yep, why not? That's going to be 1, maybe 2. He will not, but he will get at least something started. CTs. Still fighting a little bit for that mid. I was thinking Nithon might have tried to go around that smoke, but instead he'll just play it safe. Keep the Op in the rotation for now. Bit of a gunfight happening in mid, and Coldzera now getting himself a little bit bloodthirsty, maybe. Just getting some info, staying active, and I actually like this. I like that the CTs are still kind of moving around, still trying to figure out things for the time being. This is a good note.
Yeah, but the Corinthians also making moves of their own, scaling through the catwalk in the 4v4. They don't have apps present, so this catwalk play isn't the most potent, but it does allow for them to have a little bit of damage into the round. Info. Unfortunately, Venom Zera spotted all of this out. Gives a free route for Nithon to swing out, find one of his own, and David actually burns all the way out. So now Nithon's actually hot under the collar, hits the flick necessary, and now it's just that cap prong. 35 seconds left on the clock, and they really have nowhere else to go but the B-bomb site.
Yeah, Venoms does such amount of work on this. Like, I know he didn't really pick up more than one frag, but like you said, you caught that perfectly. It's the fact that he gets the info. Ooh, Nithon. Getting a bit too eager for that one. So it is a free site. Technically, in Coldzera now. Creeping his way through this. He might get the timing. He does. He finds that one. So now, this is problems arising a little bit more. Coldzera going to put himself in a double. And they have now secured 6 rounds guaranteed in this half. A buy should be able to come through potentially if they want. I mean, they have enough here for Galil's with that utility if they want to keep things moving. But it's kind of going the way we were thinking, right? Like, this is a scary note when you're on the T side of Mirage and you just can't seem to pick up these duels.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't feel as though they had the right read there. Coldzera a step ahead, finds a double, and another poor buy for the Corinthians. I said if they didn't step up in that round, this could be pretty much done and dusted, and I stand by that right now. David does his job, shuts down that little bit of a mid-presence that they had, and now players like Nithon can really do as he pleases. Bounding through every which way. Takes a kill onto Desh as well. Potentially ABR teed up. Misses the shot though.
Look at the control. Like, even Davideus is just sitting on top of mid. He's got a full inkling of this. Yeah, it should be. Oh, wow. You got to hit that. Okay, hang on. Yeah, don't be flexing the gun. You don't need to be insecting it. You need to be hitting shots right now, Davideus. And okay, at least the nade's going to do something a little bit, but that bomb's creeping its way through mid now, maybe. But
really?
Oh, this is just what is going on? Maybe are not long for this world, surely. Yeah. Okay, there we go. 7-2 and Paladin. You can walk me through this round because I got nothing.
It's just Red Canids winning. And that's the long short of it. I mean, it's just domination on every end of the map. You have Nithon being able to freely look down the A main without any pressure from Palace. You have David fighting top of mid with no pressure from Connector. Of course, it's lesser weaponry, but this kind of a pressure builds over time, and it makes these buy rounds that much more difficult to try and overcome. They're going to try their hand again at mid control as Leo goes bounding through the top mid smoke, trying to split onto this B bomb to at least grab ladder control at a minute 35. Luckily for them, Cuts will find coldzera, and now Leo's fast into this B side. Leggy finds one, and it's all onto Davideus here on B.
Yeah, somebody that needs to come up big, and he is able to find that first full space of lead coming in. Leggy just playing on the bench. Can he get himself up here, and even now the reposition coming in from the CT side.
They didn't have the bomb.
Oh my goodness, I'm glad you said that, because I was looking at the radar, and I'm like, why is the bomb in T-spawn? But okay, but at least like ABR has been able to do some detective work and has cleared things out and said, look, you got a free site, you can get the plant in. I got to do something big here. I got to be able to find somebody. And Leggy's kind of just still creeping through, hoping to get something. But look at the position for Red Canids. They're all kind of grouped up together on the outskirts of B and also ladder, but this timing could be everything. ABR's already made it across.
Yeah, it's really all on Nithon to either find Leggy or find that jungle rotation as well. It is legitimately just a matter of mere moments here. 30 seconds left on the clock, and now the bomb site has been breached. Nithon makes a noise cue. There it is. Leggy should be able to find the jump on him, but Nithon with the no-scope. Now this is the kill that decides everything. Can they dislodge ABR in any form or fashion? Being watched from every which way, ABR does his job and then some. Double for him. Thrusts Nithon into the 1v1. Cuts now, dancing between the triple boxes. Smoke out for Nithon, but can't pull out his gun in time. Cuts shuts it down. And it's great police work from this guy to circumnavigate all of that B pressure, gather the bomb on T-spawn, and clear out the A side as well.
Yeah, such a big round. I mean, again, just seeing some of these individuals like doing the detective work, and then just the fact that like ABR just put himself in that position, finding the two duels in his favor. That's one of the worst things on the CT side when you kind of go through that like little cubby hole. Like there's nothing worse, right? Because you were so vulnerable, and the chances of hitting something through that are so minimal, right? Like, I mean, you're pretty much useless. You got nothing to do in there. But ABR capitalizes, does well with it. We'll see now. A little bit of mid aggression coming in. coldzera actually might pop open the smoke. I think he spotted this player, but doesn't even matter because Leo's just going to do one a little bit more. Smokes now. Double coming in from Connector. That bomb still has not left T-spawn yet, Paladin. I don't think Corinthians have figured that out yet. Now they finally got themselves moving a little bit, but they got the man advantage at least.
They have found the answer, though. Leo is slowly starting to gain some steam. Multiple entries in that middle position means Red Canids have to respect this T side and their offense. Oh, jump spot. Nearly capitalized upon by Desh, but shots go awry. Instead, he takes actually a boatload of damage the other way. Cards out wins the exchange as Leo wants to continue his aggression down into Connector. Oh, they're just kissing. They're right next to each other, and Leo Monster finds the kill. Trade is there. 40 seconds left on the clock. The bomb has been dropped at the top of middle, and they're kind of all over the place at this point, Laz. They've got to make a decision as to where they want to end up, and they've got to regroup quickly.
They got to do something fast here, but time is running out, right? I mean, this is where it gets really scary. When you run the clock this slow, you have to be prepared for any variables. Nithon, you're getting roasted. What is going on? You're losing all your HP. Now Venom just waiting on the back here.
No.
Oh, no, this could be everything. Oh, man, that could deny it, but 14 seconds. They still got a little bit to work with. He has to swing. He might be able to get it. And yes, he will. He did stop it, but now it's a question, can they be able to do this? There's 5 seconds remaining. The plant should be able to come through just in time. It's a 1-on-2.
No!
And no, he didn't get it! Oh, no way, he just missed it! Oh, dude, my goodness!
I think that had to be like a 1/10 of a second.
It must have been.
Like that. On our screens, it was 4 seconds, and I'm like 90% sure that there might have been just a hitch of a delay because the Corinthians, they should have won that round, Laz. They should have won it every day of the week.
I just can't believe it. That's, yeah, like you said, a tenth of a second, honestly, because I thought he had it. I thought he had the plant through, and I'm like, okay, he just got it. But man, that's the thing. That's what I just talked about, right? You and I always go on these tangents, probably more me, just because I hate seeing it. But like, that's why you can't run the clock low. But again, Red Canids were able to stop the plant twice, and now Cuts has made himself into connector, able to get another opening duel for himself. And okay, Corinthians are a little bit mad. They're a little bit angry. And they're trying to get themselves a fourth round and redeem themselves from that last previous. Okay.
Beautiful little no-scope there, but it should be all consolation frags here at the last round of the half. Corinthians have put together a sublime ace split here. The Red Canids, try as they might, should be able to give over a fourth. Trades available for Nithon can't convert, and that should be all she wrote here in this first half. Corinthians find a way to scrounge up 4 rounds. We'll see if they can bounce back at the end of our little break.
All right, welcome back here for the second best of one, and it is going to be the second half with an 8-4. Red Canids now have been able to show us a dominating CT side, but the question is if they can get it done here on the T side. Myself, Laz, and Paladin to walk you through it.
Real task for Corinthians to make yet another crazy comeback. An even bigger lead than the half previous on Nuke. And to make matters worse, it's a B rush, Laz. These are always the peskiest to deal with. It's not even actually forget it's not a B rush, it's a B split. And only Leggy here on the B bomb side itself with these dual Berettas He's got to get at least 2, but only the one to be found. It's a retake of this B bomb site with no kit and that singular flashbang on ABR.
Yeah, that's a big play from Red Canids because, again, they baited it out, like splitting things up with one player going left, one player going right, and they're able to get themselves that duel, and now the bomb plant too. Now this is going to be worse for wear for Corinthians because, again, they don't have that kit. They have to be able to find these duels. They got to get moving a little bit here. USPs are making some decent connections. It's a 2-2. It's cold here on the bench. He's able to get something, but even Davideus with a drive-by one-shot. All right, man, that's a way to get yourself another pistol round, and a 9-4 is going to be the score.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's always going to be a tough ask to burst onto that B bomb site as a retaking couple of CTs. You've got to clear out some ugly angles, and now this whole comeback angle that I'm trying to spark up is so difficult to talk about, considering they've got this meager force buy that's potentially giving away over 11 rounds. And oh my god, Venom Zera, dry swing out mid, just bops Desh right in the head, sends us right into the 5v4.
Man, that's such a like BM move, like, you know, just dry swing mid like that. You're like,
Yeah.
your confidence has got to be off the charts. Like, you're just like, you know what? I'm better. I'm going to do it. But that's making a statement. And this is where they're so confident, and now they're just winning these duels. Again, they're only going against the pistol, sure, but this is just becoming a bit of a dominating round. It doesn't look like this might be anybody dropping from Canids, and I think Cuts now just kind of looking to see what he can find. Okay, we'll get one on cold, but it's not much to brag about. Red Canids sitting themselves at 10, and they're even going for the hunt right now. They're actually just fully looking for him.
Yeah, and I don't mind that at all. You want to take everything away, and I mean, you say, like, you know, it's just against pistols, but I mean, these kills are important. These kills find a little bit of confidence of Red Canids' T side, and it continues to bleed away at the Corinthians. This means 11 is all but secured at this point for the T side, and Corinthians will have an absolutely Herculean task to come back into this best of one.
Well, it's a huge lead, but again, we saw this before in Nuke, right? Like, there was a similar scoreline where Red Canids already had themselves at double digits, and then Corinthians were able to get themselves back in it. Maybe not this round, just given that, again, it's just some USPs, pistols. Now they're just going to swing in mid, just hope for the best. And it's looking like these Gleos are making some pretty decent connections. They're just taking one by one here. So should be Red Canids be able to find themselves 11th. Yeah, it's already looking like a speed run. But I think this next round for round number 16 is going to be important, right? Because this is where the full money is going to come in. Corinthians, this is kind of their one attempt, in my opinion, that they have to get the momentum shifted. Otherwise, this thing might be over pretty quick.
He's going to be out for Desh, so he will be able to flex that gun, but has not had that kind of impact that we were looking for on the big green. Meanwhile, it's got to be those big riflers to step up. ABR, Leo, Cuts, they've been putting in some hard work in keeping this at least remotely competitive. But it's got to be a huge comeback here. It all starts now. Nade up into the underpass to go straight at Cuts, but the trade is good for the T side. They'll happily take the 4v4 at a minute 35.
Oh, that nade does so much
What?
too. I was thinking Leo was a dead man. Like, the nade hit him. He couldn't move. He just looked like he was stuck in the mud. And he gets away with it. I don't even know. But you know what? Corinthian fans, you'll take it. I mean, you got to take every duel you can. But all right, things are getting a little bit weird. Things are getting a little bit scrappy. But there's a big flank coming in from ABR. This is so much intel. He might be able to find himself that double. They have no idea he's going to be here. Oh, this could be everything. He's just going to be able to find this. I mean, even this actually just goes right for the duel right away. He doesn't even mess around. He doesn't want to wait things out. Now you can see Red Canids are kind of going, okay, look, we got to win these fights now. We got to do something big. That's not bad here from Davideus. But can they find more? And even Davideus is low. He's got 14 HP to work with.
Yeah, a lot of pressure now on Coldzera's shoulders. It's a Palace player and a jungle setup from Desh. This crossfire is very deadly, and it will only spring to action once the bomb is tapped, but I don't even think we're going to get to that stage at this point, as the bomb has been dropped at connector. coldzera tries to chase Dash, and he gets shut down. Well done to the Corinthians and bouncing back there. And I mean, it's just very dynamic. You know, they believe in their players to make active plays, and the Red Canids do not have a response to that kind of an active setup there from the CTs.
Yeah, and this is the same thing that we saw in Nuke, right? We saw players getting really aggressive on the CT side from Corinthians. They started, making plays. They were trying to, change the pace a lot and just get some control back. And we're kind of going down that a little bit. I mean, still super early to tell, obviously, but I like it. I love that they're still not giving up. They're still got their feet down in this game. And they've taken mid control. They pushed back a little bit against Red Canids. They're posted up here behind the smoke, and the flashes are not making it easier. coldzera, he's made it across mid box, but does he expect Cuts to be this close? Oh, it's gonna be a swing, and that's gonna be a double. Oh, even with a TK, no! Oh, Knifeon takes his own teammate away, and these CTs, they're starting to drop like flies, and even the T's as well, and it's just back and forth. Hard's out by himself. What on earth is going on? He doesn't even have a bomb.
Oh, there's a near lineup there for Cold as well. Kind of insane to go for a double swing like that, but it works out. Hard's out now in a tough 1v3. Flick up for Desh is good. And Corinthians continue to bounce back. More aggression in mid. Not letting Red Canids settle in this default situation. And because of that, I mean, the Corinthians are slowly starting to gain steam. Cuts is making a name for himself now. The lead is cut down to 5 rounds, and it should be 4 in just a moment's time. Oh.
Uh-oh. That's not good. I would imagine we're going to have the medic be utilized quickly. I think so. Yeah, it looks like they're kind of jumping around. So, all right. Well, a little bit of a tech issue. Leggy, some reason just kind of got disconnected, but that's all right. We'll figure it out. We'll get things fixed. But I think it's a good, moment again where the Corinthians have really shown a lot of resilience in these 2 best of 1s. I mean, still an opportunity to win this game, sure. But again, it's a very, very long road, and that's what we talked about before. But I'm liking the aggression in mid. I'm liking the changeup where they, push through a ramp and get some control. They're starting to put a lot of guessing here for Red Canids, and I think that was the one piece you were talking about a little bit, is that, the IGLing is being kind of tossed around from Corinthians, but also I think it's kind of the same thing here for Red Canids.
Yeah. But we will be just trying to refresh the HUD, all that good stuff, just to make sure that all the players are back in the server. Yeah, sorry for the little bit of a tech delay. It happens. But, we still won't figure out the victor of this game just yet. It does feel like Corinthians, they're always slow to start, Laz, but, I mean, eventually they find a way back into the game. I mean, I'd argue sometimes it's a little too late, but, hey-ho, at this point, if they can make the comeback and potentially snag away a best of 1, it would mean so much to them at this point.
Yeah, it's kind of like they almost seem like they're a team that does better when their backs are on the boards, right? Like when they're in a huge deficit, then they start to make this pretty big comeback and make things really close. Because let's not forget, like Nuke was a 13-11, and I think the scoreline at one point was like 11-5 or 11-6 or something like that. So that was in favor for Red Canids. So there was a long comeback that was already being commenced, but it fell a little bit short. And this is where Red Canids, again, a relatively newish roster. They're still kind of getting their feet, in better footing, but they're getting tested here. And this is a good thing to go against, because some teams, especially in the higher leagues and different divisions, they're known for this too. And that's where you just take it round by round. And I think we're in that kind of a situation right now with this game too.
Yeah, you can tell that, the defaulting isn't optimal right now. You can still tell that there are certain players that don't necessarily feel comfortable in their roles just yet. There aren't too many set plays that they're calling out of spawn. They're pretty much defaulting every round. And on the CT side as well, they don't have too many dynamic setups either, right? It's like they have pretty much a stock standard. Venom's there at the back of A. You've got a player in Hards out anchoring down the B bomb site. And then you've got your floaters that are kind of just doing whatever. There's nothing really too complex in terms of the reads necessary by the Corinthians. And they're kind of, they did their job on that defense to potentially hold it back, or on the offense to hold it back. So I think as a whole right now, there's still a lot of work to be done for the Red Canids. They're getting by through a lot of these situations purely through aim and big multi kills from players like Venom Zera and Hardzao. But at the if they want to actually beat some of these bigger teams, they're gonna have to iron out those fundamentals a little bit more. They're gonna have to deepen their playbook a little bit more, and only then can you start to have that conversation that maybe they could take down a Pain or an Imperial or Sharks or something along those lines.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what makes them so interesting because we said, individually they're a great team, but I think it's now building the structure, building the system, and making them that top contender. And I mean, you have to play everybody in the division, right? You have to play everybody at all levels to see what you can do. And that's what we talked about in the pre-show is the fact of, Corinthians are technically that team where, yeah, their record, it's not the greatest. I mean, right now they're sitting at a 3-9 record in the whole league, whereas comparison to 11-3 coming in from Red Canids. But at the same time, this is becoming a very close game. I mean, we're talking about 11-7. The last one before was a very close one as well. So that's where things, or 11-6, sorry. That's where it gets really interesting. But we'll have to see what they can do. And we've seen really good glimpses of beauty from both these teams. And that's what's been pretty exciting about this one.
Well, the match medic has gone through, and we should be live momentarily, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there we go.
You are not.
It is pretty much a deco here for Red Canids, and the Corinthians have an opportunity to cut this lead down to just 4 rounds.
All right, Pistola's now going to be here for Red Canids. A couple Deegs, a Glock or 2. No utility. This is all about firepower, baby. Davideus just making some noise. Thunderfooting his way in B apartments. Doesn't really get too much. Just a molly burned here from the CT. Even an HE. Okay, well, that's not too bad. And a smoke. All right, never mind. He's done his job. He's done pretty good. He's burning some USL. He's burning some cash. And now ABR gets aggressive. Does find this duel. This question of Hardzao, can he find the timing? He will not. This should be a scrap. This should be pretty quick unless these Deagles can do something big. There's still 2 of them on the field. They have no control at all, Powden. Like, you can see the positioning of them right now. Like, they have nothing to work with right now.
I mean, at this point, headshots like that will be the only way you get back into the round. Big one from David. And unfortunately, he can't recover that gun. But he does find another one onto Leo. So 45 seconds left on the clock. And a rifle now scooped up. Desh is going to be hot under the collar on this A site. Drops it over to Cold. Unfortunately for these players, none of them have armor. So it's going to have to be these like boosts, these gimmicky plays to get them involved. Desh has tucked himself all the way in though. And there's no way for them to find the kill. They're scaling together slowly but surely. But it's inevitability that Desh will hit this shot. And now it should just be a formality. 15 seconds left. ABR does his work. And actually, Hardzao makes a crossover. So bomb plan is confirmed. 3 kills are found. And Hardzao maybe even has a little bit of an opportunity to clutch no. But hey, for a round to be lost, that's probably one of the best case scenarios you can have if you're the Red Canids.
Yeah, and honestly, the one thing I really like about that too is, again, like, Desh was kind of just playing very aggressive on triple, made his presence known, again, distracting Hardzao, and then also just having his teammate ready to go, right? It's kind of a little bit of like a bait and switch. Doesn't swing, doesn't get aggressive. He just waits things out, lets his teammate to do some dirty work in the back there, and it's done, right? So it's a good amount of communication that's coming in. Now they get themselves a 7th round from a kind of a scary moment of that Deeg able to find some multi-kills like that. I was thinking it wasn't really going to be much, but either way, now we're going to have those AKs back on the board. We're going to go back for a 1-1-3. Just leaving it for Cold Zera to kind of be the anchor of mid, just kind of things out, probably cross into connector when he can. But it's about these T's making the shots, and Leggy's playing a very exposed angle right now. Spots the foot of Hardzao, and he's able to do that again. He's been gifted that twice in a row now, and Cuts and Cold, they're right beside each other. It's a matter of who can see who, and it's going to be Cold, so at least we're back to the 4-4.
Minute 20 now as the round slows down just a little bit more. Venom Zera trying to advance, crunch in with Cold Zera on the top of Khan. But they'll just get this control. To stand still everywhere. But ABR and Leggy, they want to go aggressive in the A main. It's a lineup for Nighton. But he'll only find one. Cold finds another kill in the Khan side of things. He goes down off of Cat. And now it should be this A play where everything ends up. It's all up to Leggy. Nice little off angle, but Venom Zera susses it out almost instantaneously. Bomb should be recovered, and it should go down. Dash now. 1v2 needed. Does he read this? Yes, he does. Now, Davideus. Position must be known at this point. And Desh does have a kit, so he can take his time with this. But that flash, does it suggest that he's moved? No. And David hits the head, gets the map point, locked and loaded for the Red Canids, and Corinthians are set reeling.
Yeah, the interesting thing about that too is, I mean, for David, like, he throws the flash, and I mean, you could see that Desh was kind of like, you would think in that play, the flash comes in, you're fully blind, like maybe they crossed underneath, under balcony. Probably not, though. But again, that was a really good play from David. Really risky because, again, when you're kind of anchoring that site, you need that information. But he goes for a big swing, a Ferrari swing, and he does land the shot, which is now putting them on the series map point on this one for this best of one game. And that was a critical. That's what they needed. It's starting to get a bit scrappy. ABR is going to get the Paul Flash here into A ramp. The trades are coming back through. MP9s seem to be the weapon of choice here for the CT side, despite them losing that round. And this is one of those tough situations, Paladin, that you have to work with. ABR needing to come up massive in this one. Flash comes in. It's actually going to blind him, and that's even worse. He could have got the timing, and he maybe will get two. He's going to get 1.25, but that's something at least.
They keep getting burned out here, and now Leggy, he has to make a move. So does Leo Monster. It's all down to Desh once more, and this is an even tougher ask from the round previous. Laz, I think we have our victors locked and loaded here on the A stream. It was a valiant attempt from the Corinthians. First to try and pull it back on Nuke, and then had an even tougher time to pull it back on their theoretical pick here on Mirage. But unfortunately for them, they will be eradicated. I think Open is in their sights, but for the Red Canids, they're moving up and up in the rankings. They have an opportunity to potentially get that upper bracket slot.
Yeah, that was a really good game. I mean, that was a very different, bit of a tale that we saw in Mirage. I mean, there was a bit of that comeback that was coming through for Corinthians, but I think we saw Red Canids, they got themselves looking a lot better. They had a good wind in the sails, then it kind of slowed down, and then they got that second wind, and they just looked like they were unstoppable. And it was really great to see like players like Cold Zera. Nithon was able to have himself a bit of a field day with the ops. I was really, really impressed with that. But I think we got to see everybody kind of have their moments, and that's what I was wondering to see from this roster, in all honesty.
Yeah, I think they should be very happy with the result that they have, although there are still a lot of finer tuning that they have to get done before they can really ascend within South America. And I think the time is now to really get the ball rolling. They've got a lot of tournaments to play through, and I hope that we can see them very shortly in the competition. But that's going to be everything wrapped up and done with here on the main stream. We will catch you bright and not early, more in the afternoon, evening-ish, for some more competition with Imperial taking on Pain. So you definitely don't want to miss that. But from me, from Laz, from production, we hope you all had a wonderful time here on stream, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow.